What's going on, guys? This is Sal from the GameExperts. Welcome to another episode of Talking to the Experts.
No, let me interview you. Let me interview you. Let me interview you.
So on today's episode, I've got Nick Shogun, who is a massive collector of all things retro gaming. He's got one of the best collections I've seen to date. He's a regular here, and Nick actually provided us with one of our first trade-ins when the store opened within the first week. Do you remember that?
I don't remember what one of my bulk trades.
I wouldn't expect you to remember. It was like so much stuff. So, yeah.
I do. Yeah, I thought you were either referring to just one game, but then I was like, no, I remember bringing boxes.
I think he brought in like 4 boxes.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Nick, you collect for both or a lot of things. So you collect for Nintendo, Sega. He's even got an awesome Resident Evil collection.
Yeah.
Which I'm very jealous of. I might have to rob him one day. But no.
You're always welcome to come around.
Legend. Thanks. So look, we thought that we would stick to one platform because to bring in 3 items for a whole collection that is massive like Nick's would be very... even getting him to bring in 3 items for just Sega is very unfair. But we've got so we're showcasing Nick's Sega collection. So how long have you been collecting for though, Nick?
Oh God! Well, I'm 35 in July, so I've essentially I've still got games that my mum would obviously buy me when I was young, and obviously.
Since you were really young, I just built on
the
it.
The earliest thing that I sort of remember going, hey, I want things for was Dad bought us a Sega Master System 2, with my crazy memory, like I know it was from Dick Smith.
Wow!
And it was.
I can't remember what it was.
He bought it because he wanted to be cheap, and it had the the built-in. It was
the Alex Kidd, or
it was Alex
Sonic,
Kidd, that particular
Alex
one.
Kidd, yeah.
So he was like, "Good, I don't have to buy a game."
So pretty much you grew up. So your first console was a Master System.
That was the first one that I remember him buying, but my brother and sisters who are significantly older, they had a Commodore 64.
Then you got the hand-me-down.
So
the Master System was like your first.
That was the first one that I remember being purposely bought. All right, have this, guys.
Awesome.
That'll shut you up for a while.
Yeah. And sure, did it ever?
It was an excellent console. And I sort of inherited everything once my siblings got older and stopped.
A lot of collectors they usually either collect just Nintendo or just Sega. So I know a lot of Nintendo collectors, they purely just collect Nintendo. But it's awesome that you focused on both Nintendo and Sega, which is really, really cool. The stuff that Nick has, it blows my mind. There's so many awesome stuff. You've got pretty much all the Sega consoles. I was having a look, box. How many games do you reckon you've got for Sega?
See, I don't sort of go for large quantities. If you look at my Dreamcast collection, it's very small.
Yeah,
it's just
really
whatever comes by. I'm not going for. In a perfect world, if I had an endless wallet, I would go for complete collections. But it all just happens over time. And I guess the best way to sort of put it is I'm collecting for what's for me and what makes you happy at the end of the day.
Yeah,
because obviously.
There's a lot of collectors like to collect every single
complete
thing
collections,
which is
it's
great.
Have you ever played that? And why would you want certain games? Yeah, but It's
cool though. I think collecting for only the things that you really like, it really adds
helps.
that sort of nostalgia thing, and it really eases the pain on the pockets.
Well, exactly. I mean, prior to just going, all right, I'm only just going to focus on Sega, Nintendo, and then obviously my Resident Evil collection, and then also with those Sega and Nintendo collections, it's mainly retro.
All right, Nick, so I know how challenging this may have been, but we've asked you to bring in three of the best items in your collection. I know there's a lot of amazing stuff in that collection, but let's see what you've brought in for us.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's hard to sort of narrow it down. So luckily with my Sega collection, it is quite small compared to obviously the Nintendo.
Resident Evil.
So 3 that I wanted to bring. I'm a big Castlevania nerd as well. So
Castlevania, the new generation.
The PAL version. So in America, this was Bloodlines. And of course, they always sort of heavily edit when they do things here. So they titled it The New Generation. It was later in the life, so it was sort of overlooked, I guess, for a lot of people.
Now, all of the Castlevania games that I see are on Nintendo. I didn't even know they made them for Sega, to be honest.
Yeah, well, this was like, it was a nice touch. Like,
was that their first Castlevania game? Do you know? Or?
This was an exclusive, so this was a Sega only title. So obviously, if you were a Castlevania collector, you would have
needed to get a Mega Drive.
Yeah,
to
this
play
was
that
the only
one.
thing that you know.
It's a nice way to reel you in to buy a Mega Drive, I guess.
Would be getting it for exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've actually never seen that.
It is, it is a wonderful game. So it's essentially the only reason you would have a Mega Drive would be.
Yeah, if you're a Castlevania person, then if you
absolutely
to play them all, you need a Mega Drive. How cool is that?
But it is a really good game, and it's now sort of available digitally, which makes it a lot easier.
Okay. On is it the e-store?
Like there was that Castlevania collection they did very recently, which had it.
Yes,
the cute little Mega Drive Mini did had it, which was a really nice touch.
Nice.
And then obviously, if you want the physical version,
man. And like I was, they go for a fair amount of money. I remember last time I saw, they were like a few $100, like $300-400.
Yeah, like even this, it's only missing the manual. Like I try and get complete, obviously, but
sometimes it's hard. I mean, especially I've realized with Mega Drive and Master System games, a lot of them don't have the manual. Like,
no, it's
so
just,
interesting.
It's not a thing. Like I guess most kids threw them out, or mum threw them out, or whatever. You know,
it's mainly with that sort of franchise and that platform. That's really interesting.
Yeah, it is harder to get them because they were just cheap paper. They were just they weren't like a booklet where Nintendo sort of really like tried. Where the Sega ones were just like a fold out 4x4 sort of thing. They weren't stapled booklets per se. They really weren't, especially in the PAL territory. Ours were even worse again.
There's so many I've come across. They're just in pages, like the staples are missing and whatnot. It's the worst.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Number one. So let's see number two.
Okay. Number two is again my other big collection that I love. I'm also a big Mega Man nerd. I love it. Or Rockman as he is in Japan.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is
Mega Man X3.
X3. Wow. So obviously the X series, you've got like sort of like other characters, and then he obviously other characters with Zero, and then his little dog and such. But yeah, the X series was really good. It was just 1, 2, and 3 that they had originally, and this was on the Super Nintendo as well.
Yeah.
So
funnily enough, you mentioned the Super Nintendo. We actually had a Mega Man X3 complete in box. This was probably like a few years ago. We actually had a Mega Man X3 complete in box, and I think we sold it for like $2,500. Like, it is so rare, and it's such a good game. Insane that you have the Saturn copy. Any Mega Man X3 is rare, so the Saturn. The Saturn copy is just awesome.
Exactly, and this is complete. I think I've showed you that in the past.
Yeah, love it. There's so many rare Saturn games, and that is definitely one on the top of the list.
That's one of the ones that is definitely up there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's just nice sort of to have, and just obviously it's just something that was always in my collection. Like it's not something I sought out. It was just something I always had. And
so you had that from when you were young?
It was just part of my Saturn collection. It wasn't something that I bought now as intentionally collecting. That means, I mean, essentially that was probably just $10 whenever I bought it. Whenever I did,
in the bargain bin.
It would have been nothing particular. I don't even remember where I got it from. It just would have been, cash converters back in the day or whatever.
Crazy.
Or Target clearing out their stuff.
Every single person I've had on here, their parents or their grandparents always keep stuff. Mum, I'm so salty at you. I hope you're watching this. You really should have kept my stuff.
I wish this was more easily available for everyone. Like, they've done no sort of digital releases. I don't know if it's got to do with licensing, which is generally an issue and such. But it doesn't. It doesn't really need an introduction, I guess.
Wow.
You've got Kojima. I mean, he knows what he's doing. It's Konami. It's how a cyberpunk game should be. Like I'm a little salty of how
they've done that.
A certain other game that came out recently that people thought would be good, and
Wow, Snatcher. That is insane. Yep. I've actually never seen Snatcher online or even in front of me, so that is crazy.
It is, yeah.
Don't tell me this was one that you had from your childhood. Please.
No, this was an intentional purchase. obviously, so this is the PAL release. The US release, obviously in America, it's not called the Mega CD, it's just the Sega CD.
Yeah, Sega CD. Yeah.
Those as well are also really
they're
expensive.
even worth an arm and a leg. Yeah.
Yeah,
so.
most...
the PAL one, I realised most of the PAL stuff is always rarer than the NCC stuff, and
yeah,
it's just so much harder to come by.
We are a smaller market even then, so absolutely.
That is insane. And is that complete, the Snatcher?
Yeah, 100% complete. I actually just sort of became really good friends with the seller, and we just I bought stuff off him in the past, and this wasn't even something he had listed.
That's crazy.
He was like, oh, okay, you sort of like Sega stuff. What are you?
How about this?
What are the ones that you're really sort of after? And I'm like, well, you know, I mean, everyone wants Snatcher. Everyone wants a few of the other sort of heavy hitting RPGs.
Yeah, of course.
And he was
really
like,
hard to come by.
And it's it wasn't even something he really. I sort of had to work on him. I was like, oh, you know, like, what have you got? And he was like, well, I did have my own copy of Snatcher that I wasn't really wanting to sell. And I'm like, who would? But yeah, we just sort of spoke about it, and he was like, you know what? I think he was funding. They were either having a child or he was funding stuff because he wanted to buy a car or something. And I was like, all right, well, you know,
I'll give it a copy of my Snatcher.
I will see what I can do. You know,
that's awesome, man.
And he was really good about it, and I just I spoke it over with my wife, and we were just like, you know what, you've spoken about this game for years, and he had
one of the elusive titles for the Mega CD.
Absolutely
insane.
And it just like I thought, oh, whatever, he's gonna have a sort of like a generic remake, and he's like, no, it was all complete, and I didn't think I'd have one myself. And the thing is, like, I remember seeing these back in the day where it didn't really sell, especially no one had a Mega CD.
The Mega CD itself was just a very, it was just so confusing, like with all the consoles that Sega released at the same time. It's just, they really killed it.
Too little, too late.
Like,
I mean, PlayStation was out, and then, I mean, the rest was history. Really,
yeah, pretty much. That's, they killed that off, but that's so awesome to have, guys. Yeah. Snatch, I think, I hear that they go for like about $1,000. I've never seen one for sale, so like this is just speculation, but they're worth so much money. That's so
It wasn't cheap, I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
And you know, the seller was wonderful, and he knew I wasn't buying it to then palm it off 10 months later. He knew that it's like sitting on my shelf.
It's going to be in your grail case.
That's it, you know. Wonderful game, wonderful series. I really wish they would have it more easily available for everyone to play. Do a remake.
Like a remake or something,
or just do a nice HD
like a
version. You know, people would pay it.
You've brought in some amazing stuff for us. I know I asked for 3 items, and then you really hit the nail on the head. Some really awesome stuff here. All right, guys. So that was our second episode of Talking to the Experts today. We had some awesome Sega stuff come in. Nick, thanks so much for bringing this stuff in, man.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, all of our guests have been hitting the nail on the head with all the amazing stuff they've been bringing in. All of this stuff I've actually never seen up close and personal. So thanks for bringing them in. And it was an awesome chat. Don't forget to, so Nick's got his own YouTube channel as well. So check it out. The username is Donienmo.
Donienmo. Yeah.
So just type that into the YouTube search bar, and you should see all of his awesome videos. He's got some really good collection showcases. So he goes over his Resident Evil collection, and I'm sure there'll be a Sega one. So for all the stuff that may not be here, or some of the hidden gems, definitely check him out on his YouTube channel. Thanks again for watching another video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.